I think that they are trapped for the time being, and that's the big problem, because it would be considered as a change of course that would not be understandable.
Francois, first of all, let's focus on central banks then. Have they exhausted their ability to act?
I think so. I think that most of central bankers did a lot over the last 18 months, be it in terms of quantitative easing or for the Fed in deciding not to normalize the interest rates too quickly. So I think that now their room of maneuver is quite limited to act on interest rates.
Okay, you mentioned Fed already there, and what about Janet Yellen specifically and her approach and how she's been handling things so far?
I have a lot of doubts about what she's doing, especially since the fall of last year, when she introduced the notion that international conditions justify to slow the process of interest rate hike in the US, and that the Fed was worried. I think that this is a very dangerous process, because the Fed is the Federal Reserve of the United States and not the Federal Reserves of the world. Moreover, you can consider with such a vague statement, anything could be an occasion for the Fed not to hike interest rates. So I think that it's quite dangerous. I don't like that.
Okay. What about central banks as a whole then, in terms of credibility? Do you think that's been damaged permanently, or what do you see the state as at the moment?
I think that the behavior of equity market and financial market in general since I would say the summer of last year proves that there is a problem of credibility. I think that also the condition in Japan, where the Bank of Japan decision to go for negative interest rate, has really destabilized the market. In the US, you have a lot of volatility on equity. People are very doubtful about what is going to happen for interest rates. They have reduced their expectation from 4 to 1 hike only in 2016. So yes, I think that there is a lot of questioning about central banks right now, and that's the issue of credibility that's coming in front.
Japan's quite an interesting one, and in its controversy as well, of course. You see them reversing the steps they've made in going into negative rates anytime soon?
I don't think so. I think that they are trapped for the time being, and that's the big problem, because it would be considered as a change of course that would not be understandable if suddenly they move from negative back to non-negative interest rates. So I think that they are in a difficult position.
Okay, and then lastly, Francois, what about risk assets at the moment in terms of how they're priced? Is that a realistic assessment, do you think?
I believe that equities, after the rally that we experienced from mid-February until the end of April, have reached a level that is not sustainable in the short term. There is a need for consolidation. Over the last few days, obviously, the consolidation has begun. I believe that this is quite logical, considering, for example, the P's on the equity market are quite elevated, especially in the US. You still have a lot of doubts about the EPS growth. So I think that the market is due for a kind of consolidation, 5 to 7%, that this process should continue in the course of the next few months. Moreover, never forget the famous say, sell in May and go away. We are typically in the period where the seasonal effect is not that positive for risky assets. So I would consider that the phase of difficult time for equities and risky assets in general is still in front of us, and I would stay on the sideline and be underweight equities for the time being.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see. Francois, thank you for your insight.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching. Be sure to click back to Dukascopy TV for more exclusive interviews. We'll see you next time.